Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's a brand new year 2025 and that means a fresh batch of horror movies to get excited about. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 of the most anticipated horror films of 2025 that I simply cannot wait to watch. Whether if you're a fan of spine-tingling thrillers, gory slashers, or just eerie supernatural tales, there is something for every horror fan this year. Now, as the year goes on, there might be new horror movies coming out that just haven't confirmed if they are being released this year or 2026 as of yet, so don't panic if you don't see your favorite one on here today. Also, I will be sharing the release dates for these movies, but as always, the release dates, it does always depend on where you are in the world, and yeah, always double check. The first movie on my list is The Monkey, which is set to be released on February the 21st. Now, this film has been on my radar for a little bit recently, and I've just got a feeling that this one might just be a little bit of a hidden gem. I did a trailer reaction to this movie very recently, and what I can gather from that trailer is that it seems to be this supernatural horror film that centers around this cursed antique toy monkey. And going by the movie descriptions over on IMDb, something bad happens when these twin brothers find this toy monkey in the attic, and I think years later this toy monkey returns and the twin brothers, they may have to work together to try and stop this evil monkey once and for all. It's very, very vague, but that's good. That is actually quite good. You don't want the whole movie ruined, but you get the gist of it all. Now, the film seems to have a very very well put together cast as well. We've got Theo James, we've got Elijah Wood, Sarah Levy, and also Rohan Campbell, and he was in Halloween Ends because he's the one who played Corey, so that's going to be very, very interesting. The film seems like it has all of the perfect ingredients for this fantastic horror film, so I cannot wait to see it and just share my thoughts with you guys, once it's out and been released in theatre, and I will be doing that on this channel, so please make sure you have subscribed. Next up on my list is Final Destination Bloodlines, and I am beyond excited for this one. If you're a fan of the Final Destination franchise like I am, then you know just how long that we have had to wait for a 6th movie, and you just know we're going to be in for a juicy little treat. Now, as a long-time fan of this franchise, I'm excited to see how they continue the story. Reports suggest that this film promises to tie back to some of the events and characters from the earlier movies, which is very, very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it's all going to connect. Now, as of me filming this video today, there isn't an official trailer for Final Destination Bloodlines as of yet. I know there are quite a few fake trailers doing the rounds all over social media, but when I googled the release date, it did say that it is coming out on the 16th of May this year, so I don't think we have long to wait for a trailer. And there doesn't seem to be much information on the storyline either, so we don't really have a lot to go on, but I have heard that there might be a little bit of a backstory for Tony Todd's character, but I'm not 100% sure what's confirmed and what isn't confirmed. But it will be lovely to see Tony Todd in this movie because, as we all know, Tony Todd is no longer with us, God rest his soul. The next movie that I am super excited for is 28 Years Later. Oh my god. When I heard the news last year that this was actually going to be happening, I could not believe it. I am a die-hard fan of the first two 28 movies, and I have been dying for a third one to enter my life. Directed by the legendary Danny Boyle, and it is set to be released on June the 20th of this year. Now, for those who are not familiar, 28 Years Later continues the story of the rage virus that, it has devastated humanity. It's been nearly 3 decades since the initial outbreak, and the survivors have been fighting to rebuild society. The film promises to explore the long-term impacts of the virus and how humanity has adapted or failed to adapt over the years. 28 Years Later also has this awesome stellar cast. We've got Aaron Taylor-Johnson, you've got Jack O'Connell, Jodie Comer, and Erin Kellyman, just to name a few, just, you know, that have been confirmed. Now, apparently, Jim from the very first movie, I heard that he was supposed to be returning, but apparently nobody actually really knows. Nobody knows if Cillian Murphy is actually returning or not. So I think we may just have to wait until June to see if he is or if he isn't. But either way, I am super, super excited. This is probably my most anticipated horror movie of the year. I mean, overall, 28 Years Later, it just looks like it's going to be this very intense and thrilling addition to this series. I cannot wait to see how the story unfolds and to experience the suspense and the horror that Danny Boyle is known for. Next up, we have Megan 2.0, scheduled for release on June the 27th. Now, I think I always knew that Megan was going to return after the success of the first movie, which I did really, really enjoy. Now, this second installment brings back some of the characters from the first movie. You've got Katie, you've got Gemma, which in my opinion is just a fantastic news. I always prefer a sequel, especially in horror, to follow on with the previous characters who survived in the first film. I just think the continuity is always a lot more smoother that way. Now, as much as I loved the first Megan movie, I did find it to be a bit of a PG-13 horror in terms of like the kills and the lack of the blood and the guts. Now, I really, really hope that in this sequel, they do go a little bit more hardcore with the kills and we get to see more of it, but do you know what? Aside from that, I am really looking forward to seeing what Megan 2.0 has planned for us all. Next up is The Conjuring Last Rites, which I believe is going to be the final movie in the Conjuring universe. Now, reports are saying that the film is being released on the 5th of September of this year, and of course, we've got the amazing Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson returning one final time as Ed and Lorraine Warren. I am a huge fan of the Conjuring movies. I love the first one. I still think it's one of the most scariest horror movies in recent years. I also love the second one, but I didn't think it was quite up there as the first one, but it was still absolutely amazing. And the third one, The Devil Made Me Do It, it was okay. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't as good as the first two movies, but I had a really, really good time with it. So all in all, a solid 3 Conjuring movies. So I am really looking forward to seeing what comes in the final chapter. There's not that much information on here at the moment. I mean, over on IMDb, all it says is paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on one last terrifying case involving mysterious entities that they must confront. But apart from that, no clue. But you know you're gonna have a really, really good time with this film, even if it doesn't stand up to the first 2 or even 3 movies. But I am so excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing the trailer when it drops and doing my reaction on this channel as well, because I just know it's gonna be brilliant. Saw 11 is next on my list. That is apparently being released on the 26th of September. Look, I know the Saw movies have been done to death. However, Saw X was flipping incredible. I was not expecting to enjoy Saw X as much as I did. In fact, it's pretty much blew me away, and it's since become my favorite Saw movie sequel of all time. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Saw 11 is all about, because Saw X was this film where it was set in between the first and the second Saw movies. So it's a bit of a prequel, but not a prequel, if you know what I mean. Will Saw 11 be a sequel to Saw 10, or will it be a direct sequel to Spiral, which was, you know, the original final entry in this franchise? For me, I think it would be better to keep Saw X and maybe Saw 11 as part of this new in-between storyline saga. I think if we start jumping timelines, then things are just going to get super confusing and super, super messy. I mean, it is reported that Tobin Bell will reprise his role as the Jigsaw Killer, but it is not confirmed if he is back in the full story or if he's just, you know, appearing in flashback. So there is a lot to look out for this one this year, and hopefully we will get a bit more information when the trailer is released. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for Saw X? Let me know. And finally on my list today is Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now, I actually had no idea that a sequel was actually coming out until a couple of weeks ago, and I was quite shocked when I heard this news. I mean, I did really enjoy the first movie, but I'm not sure if it was very well perceived by everyone. I mean, I thought it was a really twisted and dark story, you know, involving those missing children and then those, you know, animatronics. I mean, yeah, where's it gonna go next? I actually love what the description says on IMDb about this sequel. Anyone can survive 5 nights, but this time there'll be no second chances. This makes me think that this entry could be a lot more brutal, a lot more darker than the last film. Also, all of the characters from the first movie are returning, which in my opinion is just incredible news. The movie is supposed to be released on the 5th of December, so we do have a little while to wait, but hopefully we won't have to wait too long for like a little bit of a teaser trailer to whet our appetites. But guys, that is all of my 7 horror movies that I'm really looking forward to seeing in 2025. I know there's a ton of other horror films coming out, but there's gonna be some horror films that I maybe just haven't heard of yet, and maybe as time goes on I can do like a part 2 maybe halfway through the year. But these are my main 7, with 28 years later being at the top of that list. 2024 was a brilliant year for horror. Let's hope that 2025 continues that journey for us horror fans. But guys, let's hear some of your thoughts. Which horror movies are you most looking forward to in 2025? Let me know everything in the comments box below. But for now guys, that is a wrap. Thank you all for watching today. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe out there, and I will see you all next time.